Storybox.
All right. So we're back. Julia Valentine here.
Cho-Nan Tsai here.
All right, our case number two. So what's next? What do you want to talk about?
Yes, yes. Let me share my screen and pick up where we left. Give me
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Okay. You can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next one. So just some background on this. So we had a client that wanted to put a chatbot on their website where they could answer, uh, you know, basically customer support questions. And so what we did was, we come through the website and then basically empower the AI chatbot with information about the company, about their product line, and about anything that's related to this company so that you can answer adequately, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what we did was we were able to fine tune this chatbot a little bit, and so that it's not straight up from say OpenAI, one of those uh, big tech chatbots out there. This is actually specially tailored for a business, and just for context, this is a online e-commerce brand, and they do sell skincare stuff uh, through Shopify actually. So I'll show you what this thing does. So right now, customers asking, "Hey, I have dry skin. What do I do?" Right? And these suggestions actually came from the website's blog, right? And so it's able to provide links to the business's blog post, which is great, for driving traffic and then conversion.
Of course. And it's using essentially, so there's some kind of a board, right? Where the customers are talking to each other about the solution.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so
Wow.
there are links that will bring you to the website. So this is the kind of thing, some companies are doing right now, which is, hey, rather than staff somebody 24/7 to
Right.
answer I'm sorry, to answer some dumb questions sometimes on the website.
But it
You can
takes
actually,
hours. Do you know how much
yeah,
time it takes if you're a small business owner, right? And people are like, I
yeah,
can't log in. And you're like,
yes,
your permissions are set. Like, you should be able to log in. And then
yes,
they forget, or they need to clear cache, or they need to use the right password. The cap locks is on. And like,
yes.
right? Like, it's all these silly things. So then,
I
no,
know.
seriously. Listen, I've been that client myself. Okay, so sometimes you just get rushed. I'm not blaming anybody. Been there,
It's
done that.
true. It's true.
Right.
Sometimes all you need is restart your computer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't restarted in 2 years. So stuff's not yeah.
I
It's
know.
yeah. So what do you? So in that case, as long as so then basically it
Hmm.
benefits the business to create as much communication by the clients as possible,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. And
Like you want
yes,
that.
I think there are a couple of layers to this, right? If you look at it from,
Mhm.
several angles, I think on the surface, I think to the client, to the user who's coming to the website, obviously information is instantaneous. You can come and ask for things, and
Mhm.
if the bot cannot answer, obviously it would get escalated to a real human who can then actually jump in and answer. But
Right.
if you look at it, right, if you do have a website that it has high traffic,
Hmm.
you save your call center and your support team a ton of time. You can
Yes.
cut back on the number of either calls or actually either chats coming in because bots can probably take care, at least 40-50% of it, right? That percentage is really dependent on how much you are fine-tuning your bot
Right.
to actually answer these questions. If you don't do any fine tuning or you don't do any what they call RAG application development to support searching relevant articles to answer, then the answer would not be accurate, right? So I think people who want to use technology like this need to understand,
Data.
you need to invest some time to make sure your bot is ready, right? It's not like, hey, you throw there, the answer is gonna be
No,
there.
you need data, right? AI
Yeah,
doesn't.
you need data.
You need data. You need to have, you know, like any case that you use,
Hmm.
where you actually answer the customer request, right?
Yes.
Then you need to go ahead and document it. So I just remember that was that my training, like back when fintech was only beginning, right?
Hmm.
That was our requirement. Like any issue that you deal with, you have to phrase it as a question and document your answer and put it
Correct.
out there into the, we called it knowledge base. And do you remember
Hmm.
when Lotus Notes? Okay, this is
Yes.
dating myself.
Oh, walking down
Wow,
the lane,
yeah.
memory lane.
Memory lane, and we had this, yeah, we had this Lotus Notes knowledge bases where like anything you ever touch, you had to put in there
I know.
because you have a 35-person team, 100-person team. You don't want people to constantly duplicate the same thing, but people
Yeah.
will ask you the same 10 questions.
Yes. Exactly. And that's what we do. Like for projects like this,
Mhm.
we actually ask to see the data they already have, meaning like
Right,
previous interactions between users and support
right.
team. We figure out what's the most asked questions and then we start there, right? Because they're probably going to get asked again. And
That's
then
right.
you kind of fine tune and eventually you capture everything through the long tail. Um, I think the other thing that we want to underscore here is, stuff like this, it's great, right? Especially for business, they want to capture trends, right, for your own company. Why
Yeah.
do I say that, right? Because everything that comes through the chatbot gets captured. And I think when you collect enough uh, messages, you can start to figure out what the intent is, like of your users.
That's your
And
product's roadmap. That's right there.
yeah,
Roadmap. You
exactly.
you put all of that data into ChatGPT and say like, based on this, map out my product roadmap. And it's just gonna give
Yes.
it to you. It gives you like a marketing plan for the whole year. Like it gives you all of this stuff, right? It can process that data probably
Yes.
better than some product managers or strategists.
I mean, it's gonna, I would say it will always improve everybody's efficiency by at least 50%, but you still need somebody at the end, to actually do a real human check
Right.
until you're comfortable with the system. Because these systems like this, especially with agentic AI,
Mhm.
the accuracy of the output from AI actually can be improved, right? Because it's usually a combination of uh, these if else rules, right? Plus whatever that's coming out from the AI. So you combine both, you can have these, deterministic rules to check some of these output, make sure they make sense, right? And so this constant evolvement of AI technology will make things and things better, right? But right now, let's just start easy and from the beginning, right? For any business they want to adopt it, you just go ahead and use it, right? But make sure you put human in the loop. Check it, right? Until you're
Well,
really, really comfortable, and then you can let it go.
but how do you solve the problem of common sense? because
Hmm.
because we can take a look at something and realize very quickly, okay, there's a drift, something's going on with this model, like it doesn't feel
Sure,
intuitively, something
sure.
really off. But
Hmm.
we get that sense because we started out doing everything by hand or manually
Hmm.
or through writing out the code. So what are people who never have to touch that and never have
Sure.
to learn hands-on? Like, how are they gonna get a sense that something is off?
I think, first of all, what you can do is make sure that the AI solution you're using uses a model that actually does reasoning. I know some of you may know or may not know. I mean, reasoning is a process that AI can use to actually further validate its output before it gives you the answer. Now, I know some hardcore companies where they have like real AI teams. What they do is They put LLM before and after the the LLM that you're using. And why? Because the one before is going to check input from the user, and the one after is going to check the output from the LLM. And they do this because they want to make sure whatever goes in and comes out is somewhat, within the range of what they expect, right? And
Mhm.
so if you are looking for software, shopping for software, you want to at least start there, right? You don't want to use like a model that, it doesn't have any guardrail whatsoever.
Right.
Then, your answer could be all over the place. Now, of course, with more sophisticated companies, right, or teams, what they start doing is they go in, if you have the budget, which is a lot, you can build your own model specialized for your niche. But I wouldn't go that route day one, because it's very, very expensive, and you don't know if you have, you know, that return for investment, right? So you always want to start with maybe building a rack, right? And then if that works, if you want to do another version, an iteration, maybe do fine tuning, right? So there are these steps that you can go through to make your model better and better, hallucinate less, and
Yeah.
become more attuned to what your
Mm-hmm.
expectations are.
Mm-hmm. Great. And if you don't have the data, then start with putting your the data that the model is going to use. Start doing that. Start building a library or that knowledge base, right, that you
Yes.
can apply. And maybe you can even try different models, right, depending on your budget and what you can do. But if you don't have really good data, then I don't think it's going to be worthwhile. Do you know what I mean? Because the answers
Mm-hmm.
are going to be so crazy that people are like, oh my God, then I see them just abandoning the whole thing. No, seriously, because
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
it's comical sometimes, right? Like
Yes.
you can get back. And so people become like really frustrated with that or just completely disappointed. And they're like, okay, no, we need to put humans on this. Uh,
Yeah. It actually you brought up a good point. I think most small businesses and new startups, they're gonna have this problem. They don't have the data, right? They don't have the data, which is a
Correct.
common topic, in my career as a startup CTO. I mean, I've encountered it so many times. So there's actually things you can do to mitigate. And the thing I would do is really look inward to see if there is a way to actually generate synthetic data, right, from these AI models. Because if you think about it, AI models are created because somebody scrapped the whole web, right? All the pages from forms. There is some collective intelligence in there, and they digest it and put it in a way that we can do Q&A, right? So the same thing is you can instruct it to give you,
Yeah.
synthetic data, and then you can see if any of those things fits our use case, and maybe there's a good starting point, right?
That's an excellent point because you don't have to, like, now that I think about it, it's like, okay, all of this, if we're sticking with the customer service. So a lot of these customer service complaints, you're not the first company to get that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
especially like the basic, oh, user ID issues, all right, access issues, right? Things like that. So yeah, you could potentially search for it or
Mm-hmm.
ask your chat GPT version that you're training, right? Like give me examples
Yes.
how people are solving, like produce an example over you're clearing out your cache and like what does that look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you could really right, instead of writing out each case by hand,
Yeah, it will take too
actually
long.
it'll
Yeah,
take
and
too
and
long.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can, and then you just replace like your screenshot, those screenshots with your screenshots, and then the
Mm-hmm.
text is there already. Right. So you can
Yes,
shortcut even writing up your knowledge base. No, that's a very good point.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are other ways that you can mitigate. Sometimes I guess sometimes people used to just buy data, but then it's not preferred because you don't know what the data source is, so you don't even know if the data is accurate. And then the other way is just start building data capturing mechanics within your service offering or product offering, right? And that way you're getting feedback from the user even behind the scenes. So things like those will help you, get enough data over time, and you can kind of iterate from there.
That's a very good point again, right?
Hmm.
Capture what the user is experiencing, right? Use the capture services. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, 100%. And then then you can just look at the reel. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
really cool. I wonder if you can
Yeah.
train AI on that. It's just like outsource the whole thing.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's working on that already. I mean,
I'm
everybody's on
sure.
AI.
Oh my God, that's like $1 billion company. That's like a unicorn right there.
I know. I know. It's because it's a pain point, right? So,
It's a huge pain point and it's never gonna go away. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like reliably, like
exactly.
that is something that's never gonna go. Yeah, you're right. I wonder who's working on that. That's a good investment. That's a good potential investment or a good potential idea, you know?
Yes,
Right.
of course.
Okay. I like that. So this is our segment on automating um or improving on the customer service.
Hmm.
So let's end with this segment, and then the next one is going to be on something else.
Be right back.
Okay, be right back.
Storybox